A while ago, I decided to take a path that would make life much more enjoyable. To succeed in this, I would have to recite and meditate on a list of positive affirmations 2 times a day, one in the morning and one in the night. Each was about 5 minutes in length, which would be about 3 repetitions of the affirmations. But I failed. I could only keep this up for about 2 weeks. You see, life got hectic, and well, my affirmation habit was lost in the process. I'm sure you have been in some similar situation. Maybe you told yourself that you were no longer going to use your phone in the morning and night. Or perhaps you told yourself that you were no longer going to break your diet. However, as it did with me, life became chaos and you gave up your way. You no longer did it, and it gave you immense guilt. However, we still desire to be better. We're still here to change our lives for the better. But in order to change, we need to know what is causing this problem. One of the main reasons people don't stick to goals or habits is a lack of self-consciousness, and it is pretty easy to not be aware. You can forget to do your task or habit one day and then do it again the next day. And then there is a snowball effect that takes place until you just stop completely. Okay, so now we know the problem. How can we fix this issue? Sometimes, no matter how hard we try, we find it hard to stick to our goals or habits. For example, going back to my daily affirmations, I thought I was pretty smart about my goal and how to stick with the daily affirmations. I had decided to make alarms labeled for my affirmations, one in the morning and one at night. This way, I would never forget to complete the task, ever. At first, the alarms were pretty effective, but it got pretty easy to just turn them off. I would see the alarm, but I would somehow always be busy and decide to not do it. They were excuses. That I needed to leave for school, I needed to get a good night's rest, and that one day would not hurt. However, this is where I went wrong. You see, when first starting to build a habit, you have to build the habit. Now, hold up. I know it sounds redundant, but hear me out. You have to get used to the routine of having that task in your schedule so that it is able to become a habit. If it takes too much effort to complete the task, you will eventually fail at keeping that routine. So the best answer is to just do small bits of it. Instead of reciting my affirmations 3 times, I would just have to say them 1 time. Seeing it from this perspective, the amount of energy needed to start the task was now much smaller, and thus I would be able to complete it. Okay, so that's addressed with. Now, the next step is building that consistency. You see, even if something is pretty easy to do, it gets easy to forget about it. For this issue, a habit tracking tool called the Seinfeld Method will come to the rescue. To those who are unfamiliar with the Seinfeld Method, here's how it works. You simply get a calendar, and every time you complete your desired task, you mark things off. Put simply, mark it off and don't lose your streak. Now yes, this may sound simple, but it is quite unbreakable. To get into details, I simply ordered a calendar from Amazon. It was a habit tracking book, and you can look at it in the description below, and no, I am not affiliated. But let's go back. The next step is waiting. Keep this small and consistent task for a while until you feel that it is no longer a task, but just something that you do, a habit. After this, you will be able to add a little more to it and advance in your progress. For this example, instead of reciting my affirmations 1 time, I could start to recite it an additional time once I felt ready. If followed, this plan is quite effective. Make it easy, mark it off. However, we still need to discuss small details that could make or break this whole thing. If you want to make the Seinfeld method more effective, make sure there is a physical way for you to mark things off. It is much more tangible to check things off, and thus the reward of not breaking the chain is much more rewarding. Going for an online alternative might keep it off your mind, and this can make you fail with ease. Instead, having a physical calendar will keep things real and will remind you by just having it at a strategic place like next to your bed or perhaps your desk. Another thing to remember is to emphasize making things easy for you. When building a habit, you want to make sure that there are the least amount of distractions. If the gym is one of your goals, make sure you have your shoes readily available, or make sure sure that you always have that time frame free to go to the gym. Not finding your shoes, having to commute long distances, and filling your schedule with something else instead of your goals is a great way to cook up some failure. So be wise in your time placement in your surroundings. Now, if you want to watch why I actively decided to be more positive, watch the video right here. Either way, stay sharp, Improvement Gang. I will see you on the next one.